Welcome to the Iron Lord Podcast, episode number 20. And I'm very excited about our special guest this week. So we're going to get right into it. I've been following this Lord's journey on Twitter and YouTube for some time. He's one of the most entertaining personality in these gaming streets, but always keeps it real to his fan base and is never afraid to challenge his own personal viewpoints as a multi-platform gamer. Besides gaming, he will also give you his opinions on popular television, movies, and weightlifting with his hilarious / sometimes co-host, Lord Chuck. Introducing the host of the Solidcast podcast, the man who demands uncompromised 60 frames per second and dead zone free controllers, and the man you reference to your girlfriend when she questions your manhood about playing video games. My man, Lord Rev is in the building. How are we doing, sir?
What's up? Thanks for having me on. Very impressed. I like that. I like that intro, man. Couldn't have done it better myself.
Much appreciated. Glad to have you when you're on the show for a little bit in the realm of the Lords. So that's always good. And of course, we have the usual suspects at the round table. My brother from another mother, the co-host with the co-most, Lord Addict. How are we doing, sir?
Pretty good. I just want to say something. Anchorman, shut up.
Anchorman in the chat.
He's on Twitter coming at me right now. It was like, where's this 1 o'clock premium experience? You guys are being unprofessional.
He's excited. He's excited. No doubt. And of course, we have the gaming soloist, the Lord who loves the single player experience. No longer Illuminati. My man, Lord Sovereign. How are we doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Just recovering from 15-hour days this week and next week, so it's going to be tough. But I'm running on fumes. I'm running on fumes.
A lot of us running on fumes too. I think Lord Addict too, man. We all hurting a little bit. I hear you. And of course, the excess gamer. The Lord who demands nothing more than the premium experience. My man, Lord King, how we doing, sir?
Oh man, doing great. It was back. It's good to be back. Last week was a really long show, but it was a great show. So hopefully we can emulate that and give that great content again this week.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, it is Lord Cognito here giving you that gaming realness. So just gonna go real quick into what everybody's been doing. We'll start with Lord Rev. What have you been playing? I heard some PUBG going on, some Battlegrounds. What else have you been playing, Lord Rev, in your catalog?
Oh, I got to tell you, man, PlayerUnknown's is really all I've been playing lately.
It's got
Ain't
you
really been much to play. Actually, you know what? I was playing Evil Within the other day.
Okay.
Good game. Good game.
Yeah, excellent game. Very underrated game from what I understand.
Yeah. Well, you have those people that they don't want to play it because they play Resident Evil and they think they cheating. So it's a damn good game.
I actually feel that would have been better than Resident Evil 7.
No, can't listen to you.
Dude, I hated that. Halfway through the game, I cut it off. I said,
The thing is, I didn't play it like how everybody else was playing it, so I have a caveat to my experience with the game. My experience with the game is probably the best VR game that I have to date. So I'm playing in VR, and in that VR space, it's the most horrifying game that I have.
Hey, Rev, Anchorman wants to see an arm wrestling contest between you and King.
Oh my Lord! Shut his mic off.
Tell him at next E3, we'll hook up and we will give a live show for the fan base.
No doubt, no doubt. So, Lord Sav, what have you been playing this week?
The little that I've been able to play, just touching, playing more of ARMS.
That crap festival game.
Relax. Let the Lord enjoy his game.
But just a question though, when you said your son was just running through everybody, was it like on the easiest, or did you bring
what it is? I just turned it on and I was playing it, and he had the curious face. You know how you look at it like, oh my God, he got a new game. So I said, here's the controllers. I showed him how to hold it, and he said, while I was playing, he didn't like the fact that I was doing strategy and I was moving the controllers and stuff like that. So he said, I would just punch my hands, and he was just punching the air. So I said, that won't work here. And he fooled me because he got the controller and he was just punching, going through people. And I had got up and left, and I came back and he was like 4 people in. So I was like, wow.
I'll say this: if you turn it up to at least 4 or 5, then you really have to like use strategy, because they're the worst. Like you have to like punch grabs out of the air. You have to move. You got to dodge. You like positioning is important. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I see it.
But I wish it had more, like a story mode or something like that. Just a regular like.
I know, right? For $59.
Yeah, it's a little.
It's a little much. But I enjoy it.
It's a $19.99 game. Price gouging Nintendo's back at it again. Hello.
That's what they do, baby. That's what they do.
No, and you still voted with your dollar. And you know what? I voted with my dollar too, because I can say whatever I want to say. I purchased.
True. Exactly. And that's why I can run them through the dirt. It doesn't matter because I paid for it, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
No doubt. And Lord Attic, what have you been playing, sir?
XCOM 2 a lot.
Yeah,
he's been on that.
You've been blazing, no doubt. And Lord King, what's been on the rotation besides ARMS with your son?
Well, wow, you had to throw that in there. Right?
I had to throw that caveat on you.
You made me choke right then. I thought I would get back to my stack, right? As I have a stack of PlayStation games that I would love to get into, like Zero Horizon Dawn. And I don't understand why I can't get into the game like I got into it with Zelda. You know, it's for some reason there's some weird barrier. Is it my Sony hate? I don't know, but I'm sitting there, and it's like a good movie that you want to finish, but you keep falling asleep in it.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting, because I heard it's off the chain. At least
I'm trying to get that off the chain. I wanted to click, and I'm gonna finish it, but it's not clicking. And
Hopefully you get around to it. Hopefully you get around to it. No doubt. I've been doing the same thing pretty much Lord Addict's doing. It's been definitely a lot of XCOM. I've been prepping ever since we was at the PC Gaming Show and we saw the expansion released. Super hyped for it. So I actually started the DLC for XCOM 2. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Messing around, Switch a little bit. I touched ARMS a little bit. I didn't really get too deep with it. But yeah, that's been pretty much it as far as me, as far as the gaming stuff. So, but we're going to get this thing going. We got a lot to discuss. And I want to jump right into controversial topic that's been going on in these streets right now, and obviously since the release of the Xbox One X, I hate that name, but we'll call it Scorpio. But there's been a lot of reports coming out. Now, our good friends at Digital Foundry were kind of like some of the first to, when Anthem was announced, to talk about it's using 4K checkerboarding. And we know the term checkerboarding before. We're no stranger to it with the PS4 Pro. We've heard it introduce it. So I just wanted to bring this to the Lord's attention as far as checkerboard rendering, as far as Scorpio games being 30 frames per second. How do we feel about it? Do we feel a way about it? And I want to start off with my man, Lord Rev, first, because I'm very curious to get his perspective on this. So, Lord Rev, the world of the checkerboard. Talk to me. How do you feel about all this on Scorpio?
Well, first of all, I don't have a 4K TV, so you're probably thinking, okay, well, your opinion on this is irrelevant. But given I'm most of the people out there, you know what I mean? What is it, 15% people have 4K TV or 10%? I don't know the numbers. But the checkerboard, I guess, is really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. But it is kind of shitty when they boast most powerful console ever, and it's doing the exact same thing the Pro is doing, and the Pro came out a year before it. You know what I mean? So it's like, But from a performance standpoint, it's like, I wanted more options. I wanted an option between 60 and 30. I wanted that to be a primary focus, and it's not. I think we all kind of knew it wasn't going to be, but I was hopeful. You know what I mean? I had this hope inside for some reason or other that maybe, Microsoft is a computer company. Maybe they will make it an option. They didn't. So that's the biggest thing for me. Checkerboard, I wouldn't have noticed anyways. I'm playing on a 1080p television.
You get super sampling.
Yeah.
It works primarily for 1080p televisions, and you're going to see a little bit more detail because it actually zooms it out and shrinks it down to the television to fit. I'm with you in that same boat as far as the 1080p 60 frames per second, because I always thought that was supposed to be our holy grail, and it seems like they're leapfrogging in it, checkerboard in it, trying to get with Sony at unattainable, unrealistic goal.
Right
now, I know the realistic goal is 1080p. Everybody has one of those televisions right about now. I think of what is it, that 90%, can do 1080p. All right, you got 720s out there running around. I got it cheap on sale, Black Friday. You got those guys out there. But 60 frames per second should have been the goal. It should always be the goal. And if you achieve the 4K checkerboard, that's cool. Some people don't know the difference between native or checkerboard. I can't tell myself. And I'm gonna be a hypocrite here because I was teasing Sony when it was like checkerboard. I'm like, it's not real. And then Microsoft is like, yeah, they can do it however they want. And it's coming to find out that most of the games aren't native. There's more games than the PlayStation Pro will be native 4K. But again, they're also using techniques. Yeah, okay, we all know that you got to use techniques. You got to be realistic with it. But again, I'm a hypocrite. I was saying that when Sony was doing it, it's a problem. Microsoft was doing it, it's cool.
So now that checkers into your side.
You guys heard. It's not about 4K anymore. It's about 6K.
6K, baby.
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Hold on, Attic. We're gonna get into that.
It's just that I know the system's not out. So we don't know if the game's released and they do have sliders for 1080p 60 frames per second. Or 4K 30 frames per second. And Sony learned during that period of time that they needed to have sliders, and they were stumbling through. So this is what happens when you lead. When you lead, you stumble, you make mistakes, and then the guy that comes behind you is able to use all your perfections that you use and enhance that and don't make the same mistakes you made. So I'm pretty sure Microsoft will have sliders as well. I'm pretty sure that they will have an enhanced mode with 1080p, 60 frames per second on some games. Some games where it's competitive games, you won't be able to do that because you have to be competitive across the board. So 60 frames versus 30 frames, they're not going to do that. Your game will be rendered at 30 frames per second to keep it competitive. But I think in a single player experience, they'll maximize it to the point that 1080p 60 frames will be there in some games.
Now let me ask you to this in reference to that whole thing, like especially Rev, like will we more, and I know Lord Attic, we've talked about this before too, but I want to bring this to Rev, like would we be more happy if instead of the 4K push that they say, okay, we'll give us that 1080 60 option, for people like yourself, Rev, who are not really, don't have a 4K TV right now. And there's a lot of the population that represents the majority that doesn't have that. So would you be more akin to that, Rev, or where are you at with that as far as
what's that, 1080p 60?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's like not even a question, man. Absolutely. 1080p 60 over 4K all day. But do I represent the mass population of gamers out there? I don't think I do.
Yeah,
I think your casuals make up the most of the gamers out there, and I don't think they got a clue what frames per second is. My boy doesn't know what frames per second is. I've sat him down, fired up a PC game, and I'm like, okay, this is 60 frames on this, and he's like, dude, I don't see what you're talking about.
I don't think they know.
How can you not see this?
Interesting.
Got to be a gamer.
I don't think they know what frames are, but I think they know less what 4K is. Like
no,
if you ask,
everybody knows what resolution is, man. Everybody.
They
4K,
might.
Everybody knows what a 4K TV is.
I feel like it's not to the standard where casuals care about that.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that I hear both sides. I think that people know of it. I mean, some people might just not. They just don't have access, or they're looking at it and say, you know what, this may not be the greatest investment for me because I don't know what the benefit is. You know what I mean, for the 4K aspect. But I see both sides. I want to get Lord Sarge on this. You've been a little quiet. Where's your whole feeling with first let's start with you with checkerboarding, and then this whole 30 frames per second with a lot of Scorpio titles that we hear and announce. Assassin's Creed, I believe, was 30. Crackdown is 30, which again, and also one last point I want to throw in for everybody also is a lot of these we're also hearing on Microsoft first party stuff too, because there's a thing in the streets now as far as well, the devs are not getting the most out of this system, and where are we at with that as well. So Lord Saul, I'm gonna give you the floor right now.
I'm kind of two minds about this, because I understand why Microsoft went full tilt on I'm pushing 4K and true 4K. I understand, because you had the message had to be different than what PS Pro was talking about. So obviously I get that. And again, for me, it's just the fact that they went and they turned checkerboarding into a taboo word when it should have been something that should have been applauded. It's something that, honestly, when you look at a console is fundamentally different to a PC. After the Xbox One and after the PS4, the thinking was, or at least my thinking was, that moving forward, these consoles are going to be more and more like PCs, especially in terms of construction. So I was thinking these guys are looking at like a separate CPU and a separate GPU, not putting everything on one chip. I was thinking this is the route that we're taking. Obviously, with the Xbox One X, they put everything on one chip. So they're still going that route. So there's a lot of engineering that goes into that. So the expectation that it's going to be able to do the same thing that a PC with a dedicated GPU and a CPU does, it's unrealistic. So them knowing that, I get the fact that there's a lot of great engineering that went into the X, and and the fact that they can do it can do what it does is fantastic. But they painted themselves into a corner by turning checkerboarding into something negative, which it isn't. And and them knowing full well that all of their games are not going to be able to run native 4K. It just doesn't make any sense, because you never want to put your product in a position where it's able to be scrutinized for its negative points and over being praised for its positive points. The moment you put yourself at the very top, at the very pinnacle, everything that you do that falls below that is going to get super scrutinized. So you change the conversation. The conversation should have always been, you know what, we're going to shoot for true 4K and 60 frames per second on our titles. But just know that that's the, and make it very clear, because initially they didn't make it clear. Now more and more, when they have conversations like, yeah, developers can do what they want, developers can do this, whatever works for them. Whereas that should have been the narrative from the very beginning, coming from them.
But nobody does exactly what you're saying. I mean, when a system is announced, the hoopla and the hype behind the system is so fever pitched. Everybody's expecting the greatest from every new system. That Pro, they were saying the same things. 4K, it's crazy. It's gonna do this, and then they wait for it to get in your hands and be like, well, not necessarily. This is the first time the system is not even in your hands, and they're like, "Well, not necessarily." I'm like, "Come on, man!"
But this is the thing, though. See, this is what look what Pro did. Pro turned that around and be like, "Yeah, we have dynamic 4K."
Oh yeah. But that was
now it's another word.
That was you found out you had a turd in your hand after you purchased the turd. You didn't get a chance to have the, hey, it's a turd on the shelf. Oh, I heard about that checkerboard stuff. You didn't get that yet. This is what I'm talking about with Microsoft. Let them put the turd in your house first. Be happy that you purchased the stuff first.
We're too much. Look at us talking about it. We're too much in the know for that to be a reality. Especially,
but we were in the know before we got the Pro.
True.
But it's still, the narrative was like most powerful.
But see, that's the thing. The checkerboarding thing wasn't an issue. There was no talk of checkerboarding anything until the Pro, because nobody had 4K
anyway. And this is the hypocrisy that comes along with Microsoft. And I hate it, to the fact that let the dudes rock, let them get their day in the sun. At the end of the day, it's the most powerful console, and I don't care. These dudes got to suck it. It's just that. It's the most powerful, and it's the most powerful checkerboard. So let it keep on its way out.
But here's
no question, and I'm gonna be there day one with you online, whatever.
We are.
In my house, we are. So and again, Horizon Zero Dawn looks fantastic.
Amazing.
It looks fantastic. Listen, man. Checkerboard me to death. I don't care.
But here's the question. Right. My question is, do we feel, though, because Microsoft has had their chest out with the Xbox One X, right? And their whole narrative is we are the true 4K machine. Is this false advertising?
Yes.
Because, okay. Yes. Now, where you at with that?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Actually, when looking back to the Sony conference, whatever the hell it was when they did the Pro, do you remember that with Mark Cerny talking?
Yes.
Didn't they
Snake oil
advertise
salesman.
Checkerboard rendering?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they advertise Checkerboard? They didn't say native 4K, did they?
Oh, you're so right.
He
went in on it.
advertised it there, and
Yes.
everybody was underwhelmed. They told you what the Pro was from the beginning. That
Mhm.
if you look back at the 2016 E3 reveal of the Scorpio, these suckers made this thing out to be a monster. You remember?
Oh
yeah, that was
I mean,
coming out.
now we're
Is
finding
that-
out it's doing what the pros do, and it's like, yo, what the hell are you
Mhm.
soft?
But to Mark Cerny's credit or discredit, he did say that, but technically, we can triple the frames if we run it in 16-bit mode. I said, what the hell are you talking about, snake oil salesman?
And he lost a lot of people in that conference.
And then he showed some indie game that was running at 60 frames per second, 4K native, and it had 0 textures.
Yeah, it looked like
Yeah, like Microsoft did Minecraft. It's like,
Oh,
why?
yeah.
Why are
Lord.
you doing this?
Yeah.
it was that RC Pro-Am looking game that they was running
Yes,
native
sir.
4K 60 frames per
Hey,
second.
Yeah,
Two-
embarrassing.
To
Mm.
Microsoft's defense, they are running the guitar game at 4K 60.
No, you know what? They have a couple of games that
Arc, wait,
4K
hold on.
native.
Isn't Arc 4K 60? Is that like, I think Arc and Super Lucky Tales is the only 2 titles that I know.
Okay,
I'm aware
let's
of right
be
now.
real here. Okay,
Super Lucky Tales is losing frame rate. If you looked at
I
the
know-
Digital Foundry's
Yeah, I know,
last
I caught
video, yeah.
I know Desi's going to see this, and he's probably going to jump at me later on for this statement.
Mhm.
But making Arc 4K 60, what accomplishes that? The game running at 30 doesn't run well. So they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run at 4K 60, but in all nationality, we're only giving you like maybe 20 frames.
I
It's
don't
gonna
think
drop
Arc is
that far.
pushing 4K on the Xbox One X. I think Arc is going 1080p 60 with high res textures.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I need clarification on that because a lot of my
Yeah,
Arc, shout
the
out to
video I
Dizzy.
watched, I
Yeah.
think they're going 1080p.
Listen,
Okay.
the only game that's a mainstream game is 4K 60 is Forza.
Right.
And
Forza, that is
that's
correct.
an achievement within itself because you don't have any title on the PlayStation Pro that can do that. So I guess, Microsoft got really amped once they saw that game running, and it was like 4K. You got it at 60? He said, yeah. And we got 20% more power left over. He said, you're running only at 80? Put that out there. Put that out there. Let the world know.
You mean our friend Richard Ledbetter?
Yes. Oh, let me give a shout out to Sage. Sage, I told you that the Super Lucky Tales was the same game, just an extension. I want you to really understand this. I know this because I have it. I can talk about stuff that I have, sir. I returned my Oculus because I felt that it was trash and I know the company was going down. Sorry, Oculus, it's true. Y'all made some things. Some things were left. I purchased my Vive. I'm sorry. I don't have faith in your company. It's a wrap.
Real quick, in the chat, tells me to ask Lord Rev if he's hyped for Super Lucky Tales.
Man, come on,
For the
man.
X. He just wanted your
I can't
reaction.
even know in that bullshit. Hey, who's that dude in the chat that said Checkerboard me to death? Who is that?
That is lit right now, yo. Real quick before we move past this subject, everyone's made great points. What about the notion that people are saying that a lot of these devs are lazy, that they're not maximizing the power of the Scorpio, and that this is kind of a rush job, and eventually,
they said
they'll
the
start
same
taking
thing about the
advantage of it.
Pro too. That they're
Right.
lazy
No,
on the Pro too.
I'm gonna give you the whole skinny on that. If anybody wants to jump in first, I'll give you the skinny on it right after whoever goes first. Anybody want to take this avenue first?
I'll jump in. I mean, I think right now, like, I'm torn about it because yes, we do know that the system is new. We do know that the dev kicks are just getting out and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to disrespect the system completely and say that it's not capable, but at the same time, where I struggle with it is, okay, if you're gonna say Ubisoft is lazy, because it's 4K 30 or whatever, the other titles that were announced, like, for example, even Anthem, when Digital Foundry broke it down, our good friend Richard Ledbetter said that it was a vertical slice. He said that, yes, the Scorpio was capable, but there's some great checkerboarding techniques here, there. And obviously, me and Lord Anchorman, we always go at it with the Destiny Killer thing. He likes to tease me. So, of course, I had to, once that information came out, I went right to him with the checkerboard and the whole stuff. So I think my thing on it is that, okay, yes, they're learning it, but if the Microsoft first party games like Crackdown is not hitting it, that to me raises a flag. Like there's a concern there. Like
Crackdown in our hands to talk about the single player mode.
Well, true, but we've seen Crackdown. Me and you, we've been at the we've seen
it, but we
Lord,
also
can we be honest?
Okay,
does that game stand out to you as
it was 60 frames per second though when he was playing it. It had frame rate issues.
Right.
It wasn't amazing. You're looking at the title itself. Now, if you're looking at the technical aspects of said title, yes. Technically speaking, it was a high-res Crackdown 1.
Are we sure that it was frames? That looked 30 frames to me. I don't remember them saying 4K 60.
It was 60 frames, but it was dropping.
We got to get confirmation. I'm pretty certain it's not 60 frames.
I know in multiplayer, they said, when I spoke to their multiplayer, 30 frames per second. I know that for a fact. But the gameplay that we were playing, it was at 60 frames per second. That's why it looked smooth, and then you did the explosions, it looked choppy. So
I don't know.
Yeah, you probably
I gotta get confirmation on 60. I gotta get because I'm pretty certain that they said that it's a 4K 30 game, and Twitter went crazy.
That's the first I'm hearing a 60.
Yeah, I've never heard 60K. I've heard that 30 on that game.
You know how you could attest it back and forth. You saw the Forza, right? When you played the Forza.
Yes.
Now, when Forza was going, like when you did a lot of turns and it was cars in a turn, I saw dips. I don't care what anybody say. If you have 60 frames per second and it drops down 2 frames, you're gonna see those dips because it loses that smooth butter feel.
Yeah, it'll hitch. It'll hitch.
Right. You'll notice it. It's very noticeable. So I was looking at that screen, and then I stood back and I watched the Crackdown, and I said, okay, so I see when he was doing the jump, and when there was nothing going on the screen and the screen was smooth, the frame rate was high. Maybe it was the high 40s, high 50s. But then I noticed the dip when you actually got into the action of the game. But like he said, it was a pre-alpha build that we was playing. And
I'm pretty sure it was on a computer too. I don't think it was on an Xbox One X.
No, those was on 1080 graphic cards, NVIDIA's 1080s. I spoke to them. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I'm on GameStop right now. It's confirmed 4K 30.
Okay, 4K 30.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if this game's 4K 60. I still think it's going to be trash.
Well, this is probably true. But we're at the point where we scrutinize everything that Microsoft does. And listen, these are the first development kits that are out. And your point was, you hit the nail on the head when you said, the XDXs, that's what they're called now instead of XDKs or whatever. They are in the early development. So these guys are getting it. They're learning the tricks. And we all know after like 2 years into the cycle, when the new development kits are being manufactured and pushed out to the developers, and the developers get a chance to get a hold of that new harnessing of the power of how the chip really works and how they can share memory back and forth. This is really just straight off top. They freestyling right now. So they freestyle.
So right now you're giving them a pass right now because you're feeling like it's still early in development. They're still learning it.
Yeah, we give everybody a pass. Like everybody gets a pass, but these dudes don't get a pass. And that's where the hypocrisy comes. That's why I feel like I'm in the minority. Like I'm screaming, waving my flag, and I'm like, "Yo, come on, man, give us the same pass that these dudes get."
I understand where you're coming from. Okay, so go ahead because I've been talking about
it's not about not giving them a pass because we're always going to give them a pass regardless. The pro did it, and the pro's been getting better about it. The problem is they put themselves in this position by claiming something, and they don't give themselves any wiggle room.
Yeah, come on, man. They gave us shirts that says it's a monster.
It is a monster. Right.
It is a monster. There's no question. It's a very powerful machine. But it's just like you put when you use certain language and you keep pounding that into the social consciousness, everybody's expecting that. So when you deviate from that, then it only comes off as negative. If you don't say, if you're not touting 4K and 60 and this, that all the time, if you're not touting that, when you do hit it, people are like, wow, they hit it.
Yeah.
The conversation isn't negative.
That's marketing, bro, and marketing always got to drive the dollars. We got to build up an anticipation. Like, what would be the sense if you say, "Yo, we're doing what they're doing too"?
No, I get it.
We're not gonna stop.
I get why they did it because they needed to change the narrative from what the pro was saying. Absolutely. But then again, they still didn't do good enough a job to tell me why it's $100 more.
They misled the consumer.
Yeah, go ahead, Rev. Talk to me.
No, that's it. I agree with that, dude. They misled the consumer completely. And as an Xbox fan, as a fan of Xbox, I'm completely and totally let down. You know what I mean? How long do we have to get crapped on by Microsoft and still support their system? You know what I mean? Ever since the Kinect, they gave us a less powerful system to shove a Kinect down our throats. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting tired of Xbox, man. I still like them more than Sony.
Kinect was a good piece of tech, though.
Kinect is garbage.
Oh, here we go.
I like it because I use it for my YouTube videos, but if I wasn't a YouTuber, bro, this thing would be useless. If you try to navigate using your hand.
No, the best part about that Kinect thing, I do say, if they would have made it an option that you was able to purchase, like the first time around,
then there would be no sales of the Kinect right now.
And this is where I say, sir, you are a fraud and a liar. I say this to you. The reason why I say this because 13 million Kinect sold, and I'm underselling it because I think at the end it ended somewhere like around 18. But 13 million Kinect sold in the lifetime of the 360. Think it's more than that. Y'all can check for me. But that showed that it was able and viable to sell.
But the problem was that they didn't support it after that. So all the 13 million that bought it, you couldn't expect them to be like, I'm gonna buy a separate Kinect for the X1. Also,
I think the mentality of that was this. They said, well, they loved it so much. If we put it in a box, it shows extra value. But we can't do that and still ship with the same power. Let's underpower our system just to get it in there. I mean, I think that was the conversation that went down. Myself, that's why he's fired. But I think so.
That was the magic
right now. We going left. But let's wrap up a little bit. As far as that, is concerned, I definitely hear, where Rev's coming from. Attic, I just want to get your whole thing on that. Do you feel it was false advertising? You think Microsoft put themselves in a position that wants you to wrap this thing up?
Look, I've said from the start, 4K's trash. I want to innovate gameplay, not resolution. Let's move on.
Okay, and there we have it.
What were we talking about? Are devs lazy?
Yeah, and devs lazy. Yes.
Yeah, they are lazy. We all know that
devs
are lazy.
How many different platforms do they got to optimize for now? How many?
I did bring that up, actually. I did bring that up in another podcast. I said, look, like this is going to get to the point where devs are going to be like, this is too much work. It's like they have to do the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, the Pro, the PlayStation 4, not to mention probably 16, 17 different builds on PC that they got to look for.
Oh, I don't care about the PC, but I mean, I don't. But excuse me, aren't they both on Jaguars? Aren't the same CPUs being used that at different megahertz? Yes. So a slider is in order. Right. Xbox and the PlayStation is essentially the same box with different memory shipped inside. Sorry, is the truth.
But to Laura's point, like, do we not have any compassion for these devs who have
I don't have compassion for them.
Multi-flat. Do we have none? We have no compassion.
I think most of these devs are pushed by their publishers, man.
I think
games launch broken.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like I was telling when people were, obviously people have been going at Bungie a lot here lately, a lot of the Xbox people. And I think that, that might be a Sony thing, but I think that, I think it's a mixture between that, and I think they're just being rushed out. Like, people seem to forget that, like, a lot of these publishers pretty much had their hands straight in the cookie jar when it comes to these developers, and they picking what they want. They're picking what they want to do. We've seen multiple cases of publishers ruining franchises.
Microsoft,
like EA. Talking like about Dead Space, we've seen multiple scenarios of this. I mean, Bungie was pretty much said, "Yo, if that shit ain't out by this certain date, I'm taking your company over."
Yeah, they took the stock options. Yeah, you're talking about with the Destiny 2 release. That is actually accurate. No, I feel you. I mean, this is good subjects to talk about, and I definitely got some good feedback from you guys as to where everyone's at with this whole checkerboarding and frames.
Checkerboard, baby.
We can go on all day. I know. I want to move on though. So what I want to get into is Man, Lord Addict. He had a little controversial topic that he wanted to talk about, and he went about the modding community and what's been going on with that. So, Lord Addict, what you got for the roundtable?
So I just there's an incident right now going on about GTA 5 online. When it comes to PC, they have stopped modding support on PC entirely when it comes to GTA 5. And the PC community is outraged. They feel that they've purchased this item and is, you know, they felt like they should be able to adapt the code, however they want, you know, do their single player modding, and they feel like Rockstar shouldn't care about this. But Rockstar apparently feels exact different. You know, they've been very vocal about, you know, they don't like the modding. It's not that they don't like the modding community. They don't like it interfering with their microtransactions online. I do think that's the real reason. You know, why go online, grind, and why even put in money towards shark cards when you can go in single player and get crazy ass mods and never touch multiplayer? So I just wanted to ask, you know, I wanted to bring the question: do you think that devs should, do you think they should have the right to do something like that? Obviously, it's their intellectual property, but do you think that they, you know, on a moral standpoint, that they should do stuff like this? And do you think that the gamers that support this game should be outraged if something like this happens?
It's a good one. Lord Slav, what you feel about it?
I mean, well, from what I see, like they allowed the open 4 to be used again after shutting it down. So they brought it back. So honestly, it's something. It's a fine line to walk, because the modding community has generally been the ones that kind of allow the lifespan of a game to continue, especially on the PC front. Like these GTA before GTA 5 was really a singular experience. Like you go in there and you play the game, you play the campaign, and if you playing on anything other than PC, that was it. Unless you were waiting on single player DLC or anything like that. On PC, you had the opportunity for people to mod the game and do different, funky things, add multiplayer mods, stuff like that. So it's always been something that's prevalent on PC, and it extends the life of the game. So now I can understand where Rockstar's coming from, whereas with the model that they have with GTA 5 and GTA Online, that makes them a considerable amount of money, where they're constantly investing in the game moving forward. Like, this is a game that's in the top selling games every month, and it's a 5 or 6 year old game. So they're making a lot of money from it. So obviously their vested interest now is different than if it was just a singular gameplay experience that they put out 5 years ago and just let it go. So I get that. But even so, the modding community, if you look at other games, if you look at Armor and what's happened with Armor, and Player Unknown's Battlegrounds comes out of that. H1Z1 comes out of that. Like,
you're right.
A lot of great innovation comes out of these mods. A lot of these people that create these mods should be employed by these companies, because they do amazing things. So I get that they don't want their initial vision compromised with these mods. But I think it's a necessary extension of their games and of their product, especially on the PC side. And as we've seen now, it's even extending to consoles with what they allow it with Fallout on the consoles. Even though it's limited in comparison to PC, it's something that's very important, and moving forward, it's only going to expand. So they need to be willing to accept that, and that's it. Again, there are lines, and obviously they have to protect their intellectual property, but it's something that has to continue to exist, period.
No doubt. Lord Rev, where are we at with modding and this whole banning situation going on right now?
I think PC gamers as a whole are a bunch of crybabies. That's what I think. You took away my mods. No, honestly, I don't know, man. I don't care. I don't use mods. I think mods are a gimmick. I think they're trash. I think the only good mods out there are graphic mods. All these all these mods that add crap, I haven't installed like none of them. I look on YouTube, top mods for this game, top mods for that game. Dude, they're embarrassing. They're like embarrassing. This is horrible. Now, is Rockstar being selfish? Probably. Or did they give them back? I don't know. Dude, mods are just completely and totally irrelevant to me. You know what I mean? Like your boy was just saying, I'm sure there's a place for them. I don't care about mods.
Lil Rev will not be using mods anytime soon.
No,
but like I said, like you've been playing PUBG a lot. PUBG wouldn't exist without a mod.
dude, good. The game is nothing but aggravation for me. Good. If it didn't exist, I'd get that year back on my life that I just lost over the past week.
So you acknowledge it's a negative addiction. It's an addiction for you. It's not a good thing.
I think online games in general are cancer. Like if they get away with it altogether, I'm not the type of guy to cry about stuff like that. Like if we're gonna take this game away from you, good, take it away. We're gonna take this away, good, take it. You're not gonna harass me with your video games. If video games go away, I'll find something else to do.
Rev, you're not gonna be the first to make a petition.
There you go. If you ever see my name on a petition, somebody lied. Somebody forged the signature.
My man, Rev, keeping it 100. I feel it. Lord King, where are you at with this as far as the mod situation and possibly being banned and GTA 5 controversies?
It's trash. Move on. Nah, I was doing my best at it.
Hey, respect it.
I was doing my best at it. There's a place, there's a community that loves it. Actually, it thrives. For me, I can care less. I think, like Lord Rev says, as a PC elitist crime, we don't get it to do it our way. Like, shut up, who cares? Like, if you get a chance to do it, like they mentioned in some of our console games, we have mods. So I don't ever, not one time did I ever go over there, download a mod to enhance my game, and I'm doing air quotes, enhance my game by somebody's weird interpretation that they came up with in their basement and said, wouldn't it be good if everybody's legs glowed? I don't care.
It's like playing Fallout 4. Wouldn't it be good if we made like a flashback? You can run really, really fast.
Yeah, it's just, I don't care. But if it's something that's been a staple in a community or in a fan base, then yeah, when you remove something that's been there like since day one, of course you're gonna have outrage because you're changing the norm. People don't like change, so you're gonna be forced to either go back to it or you're gonna have to dig in. They gave up. Apparently, from what Sovereign is saying, and they gave in. So the point is mute, obviously, because they buckled.
No, I see you. I'll jump in if you're good, King.
I'm good, man.
Yeah, like I mean, I feel what y'all saying. I feel the Lord is saying. I mean, I'm with Rev in the sense that, like, I honestly do not care about mods. Like, I've never really used them. It's not, even when I believe Fallout, that was like a selling point for Fallout 4, right? On Xbox, right? They was the first, one to bring mods in. And I get it. Like, there's cool stuff you can do. And, you can have Macho Man, Randy Savage running around Fallout 4 or whatever it is that these guys are doing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand. It's just not my thing. It's not something I'm going to, run out and get a game because of. But to Lord Addict's point, and Lord King's point, I do see what you guys are saying, because it's like, if it's something that existed before and now you take it away, there's going to be backlash. Like, the community is going to feel a way about that. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, again, and to Lord Sarver's point, I didn't even realize that, that a lot of some games were birthed as a mod, you know what I mean? Because of that. So that creativity that these guys come up with is pretty amazing, that they spend so much time able to do it. Hopefully they can resolve it. And just real quick, Lord Addict, what was the reasoning behind them saying, because I'm still learning about the situation, what was the reason behind them banning it? Like, what was Rockstar's whole thing? Like, why are they doing this to their community?
I don't think they had an initial out statement saying this is why. I think they just threw a bunch of PR statements down people's throats. But like I said, I do think it's their microtransactions. I think it's their shark cards. I do believe that's the true intent behind it, because like I said, you play single player mod where you can do a lot more stuff. Why would someone grind and buy shark cards on their multiplayer service? Gotcha. So, I was told that it was single player that they disabled as well. So, wow. That meant that it was some kind of reasoning behind that. They wouldn't go to a single player experience and get rid of that. You can't even bring multiple people into a single player experience on their online services. So, I mean, when it comes to the whole service, like, me and the PC communities went at it a few times on my channel. I actually made a video once saying that PC gamers are, they cry a lot, that they have multiple criterias that have to be met on their service, their platform. For people who love to cry on that, it's an open platform with multiple services. You don't bring something to Steam, you might as well just start a petition right then and there.
Gotcha.
So, I put it on there. I made a video and I got a lot of bad feedback. Like the PC people came at me with the intent to kill.
You can't say anything bad about PCs on YouTube. You just can't.
Like, can't say it.
No, that's why I said they're crybabies. Absolutely. All fanboys are, but the PC, they're a special kind of DJs.
It's like I said in the video, I was like, look, you have so many criterias that a game has to meet, because I was talking about bad ports for PC, and maybe it's because of these criteria. If you don't put it on Steam, they start raging. Look at Destiny 2. Look at, games that's on Windows. Why isn't it on Steam? People were saying they're going to boycott Destiny 2 because it's not on Steam. Okay, so then you go that, and then you go to the mod support. If it doesn't have mod support, I'm not supporting it either. And it's like, if it's not $60, I understand the 61. I'm not supporting it either. Like, I have people that would love a game. They'll be like, oh, I really want to fuck with that. Oh, might be from my language. I really want to mess with this game. And they'll be like, but I'm going to wait for it to be like $24 on a sale on Steam 2 or 3 years from now. And I'm like, if you're hyped for it, and then, they go on about, the PC community's real big onto, the pre-orders, which I do think that, consoles, it's a lot easier to pre-order. There's very few consoles that actually have bad ports, but PC, they get a lot of bad ports. So I would understand why they would want not to pre-order. But when it comes down to it, it's just, look, like, I feel like, the PC community, they might be the reason to why they don't get certain ports to games. Like, why certain devs don't even mess with their ports. Why, Ubisoft has had multiple dead ports because, it's like I said, people wait for sales. They won't support it at a full price. If you don't do something to the criteria of the PC community, they outrage at you. I actually seen a podcast once where they were saying that piracy is okay because they want to make sure games are functional before they actually buy it. But that's all I have to say on that.
It's an interesting community, only thing I will say is just that, like you were saying, if there was something that exists and it's taken away, there's always going to be backlash. So it's to be expected. But, we all feel how we feel. And for the most part, I don't think we're the biggest modding guys, but we understand why people feel that way. So
shout out to SWAT.
Shout out to SWAT. Shout out to the PC community. So we are going to move on to the next topic. And I want to get my man Lord King to the round table because he's got a good one. We're going to talk about game-focused consoles. And I bet you got a lot to say about that.
Well, I got a theory. My theory is the reason why the Nintendo Switch software is selling at the rate that it's selling is because you can't do anything else with the system but play games. It's not like you can pick it up and you can divert your attention by going to YouTube. There's plenty of times that I would sit on my Xbox or my PlayStation, I would just be on YouTube or Hulu or Netflix or something else other than playing video games. The fact that the user interface doesn't allow for that activity to happen with the system. Anytime you pick up your Switch, turn on your Switch, you are primarily playing games. So the numbers will be skewed in that way. The software would be skewed in that way. Nintendo has made it like a dearth of games. So anytime any type of good game comes out, it's going to sell in droves because that's 3 million or 4 million or 5 million people that purchase that Switch are dying for games. So when you release a game, if 1% of your user base purchased that game, then you're fantastic, and it reflects this. So I feel that if Microsoft and Sony didn't have those user interfaces that allow for such things, I know the marketing for both systems or all three systems is different. Sony and Microsoft wants to take that unused time. They saw it and said, wow, people are sitting on the couch and they're using other devices to look at Hulu, Netflix, and all that. And they use that whole marketing ploy as Trojan horse, if you will, to get these systems into your living room. 4K Blu-ray. Oh, I don't even have to buy a separate device. No, you don't. We got that. It's in the box. You can do that. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I can use Hulu from here. So it's two different marketing strategies. And I believe Nintendo is dominating the games and software charts just for the simple fact you can do nothing else but play video games with it.
How do we feel about that? Anyone wants to jump in?
I tend to agree. I tend to agree just because twofold. Like the fact that the system is still fairly young in its life, it's only a few months old. So people have that excitement about, every single week checking the eShop to see what's new. I know I do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been kind of waning off a little bit, but definitely the first 2 months, like every single week, what's new, what's coming? I don't care if it's $8 or $20, whatever. if it's cool, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the marketing, I agree. Like where Xbox and Sony always trying to take over that TV time, trying to take over your living room. Whether Sony admits it or not, they're trying to do the same thing with all these extra apps. Where Nintendo, I think the software is selling great, but I think they need to take over that spot where they have those apps also, because to me, I would think that they want to be that thing when you're on a train or when you're mobile somewhere. They're the only system that can do that. So they want to get it to the point where you're pulling out your Switch instead of your phone to do this stuff, right?
Right.
So again, I think it would behoove them.
To be completely honest, they want you to pull your phone out with your Switch.
Oh, you don't get us started on that damn phone chat. Don't get us started on that voice chat.
Start on that.
Oh, we gonna go.
Go hand in hand.
Yeah, that hand in hand. So I would think that at some point they want to create a situation where you're pulling your Switch out to watch that stuff and not your phone.
No doubt.
But again, you don't know what they're thinking. This is Nintendo, so we shall see.
I am dying to get Lord Rev's opinion on the Nintendo Switch.
You don't want my opinion on this.
I
remember how I said
in my life right now
odds were irrelevant.
Here we
we'll multiply that by about 300, and that's where the Switch is at for me.
But what about for the kids, Rev? What about for the kids?
The kids. I've gotten the kids everything their little hearts desire. They have Kindles. They got a Wii that they never
asked
touch.
for a Switch, have they?
You know what I mean? They didn't ask for no Switch. It's
so,
like
so
they
the boy
say,
that's
look,
not on
I'm
his
gonna say
radar.
this right quick, and I don't want to offend anybody, but this is me being 100% cognito. You know me by now.
Absolutely.
They say the demographic for gamers, most gamers, is in their 30s, right?
That is correct.
That's what they say. The fact that the Switch can have any kind of success makes me very, very sad.
Wow. You're not feeling these man children out in these streets. You're not feeling that, Laura.
You know, if I'm in the doctor's office and oh, you know what? Let me game. I pull out my Switch, dude. Slap the shit out of me. You know what I mean?
The disgust.
I
man.
can't even think of SolidRev sitting there waiting for his doctor to see him, and he just sees some random stranger beside him pull out a Switch. I can't imagine what the thought process.
Next, give me 1 second. I'm finishing up Kirby over here. Crap out of here.
I'm picturing Rev at the gym. Now, hold on, one more set.
That's the thought that I just got. I thought that in between sets they were just passing the Switch off.
that wasn't the marketing, Lord
That
King,
was
brother?
the marketing,
dudes at the basketball court. They stopped playing ball and they put the Switch on
to play ball. They was at the basketball court to play 2K.
Rev has someone spotting him, and he's like, "Hey, you gonna help me?" He's like, "Man, let me finish this level."
Hold on, I got this goblin in Zelda.
No, I feel you, Rev. So needless to say, it's not on your radar. And the next question is, I know it's not, but what about? Obviously, we know the tremendous success, right? The last. I'm not going to get too much into Lord Sovereign's next topic because I know we're going to talk MPD, but we know it's had success. Do we think that is just because, like Lord King's point, that there's really not a lot of games on it. So people are just so thirsty that they're just like, you know what, I'm just going to buy anything. And that's why they're winning the software, like for MPD.
Is that question to me?
Yeah, that's for you, Rev. That's for you.
As far as the Nintendos, are they winning?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the NPD sales are concerned, outside of maybe the last 2 months. Outside of last.
I mean, I guess sounds good. That's probably why.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know.
Fair enough, Lord Rev. We understand your position on this.
Just flush the toilet, move on.
I'm gonna jump in. I'll jump in. I get back. Yeah, this is a good one, King. You have my gears grinding on this one. You're twisting the knife in me, and you know I'm Switch gang, so I'm part of the Man Children tribe. But yeah, I think there's some validity to what you're saying, because we do know that there's not a lot of software out, right? Obviously, we know Zelda sold like hotcakes. You know, Mario Kart, which is pretty much a Wii U remaster game, as great as it is. You know what I mean? It's it's that. So the software, me and Lord Sovereign will buy those little eShop joints, and it'll be one of those things that we're very excited to see what the hardware can push. I know a game like Fast RMX amazed me. Just the fact that it was like, 1080-60 on a Switch, and it was like an F-Zero wipeout / clone. I was hype about it. But I guess, yes, there's validity to what you're saying. The only counterpoint I have to say to it is that install base is still not in comparison to an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. So to me, it's still remarkable what they're able to accomplish based on this low install base.
I need to jump in on the install base. I'm waiting for you, because I'm gonna let you know I'm going at the install base.
Yeah, and my thing is with the install bases, I've personally never seen it where a new system comes out and you've got a system that's in the market for 3 years now, and software-wise, worldwide, Zelda is outbeating, all these other titles, Horizon Zero Dawn, all this other stuff. And then, the next month it's Mario Kart, which I believe Mario Kart dropped, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, at the end of the month?
Yeah,
it was like at the end of that. Yeah, and it was like a 3 to 4 day NPD, technically, that they counted, and it still won. And the other thing is, one thing that Nintendo's not getting, not I shouldn't say credit, but digital sales are not being counted, y'all.
Yeah.
And that to me is a huge deal, because they actually have
I got to say something on that one.
I know. We're going to go. I know y'all coming for me. I know. But the whole thing is like digital sales is a huge deal. And I know a lot of people who said when they got a Switch, they're going to get that big memory card, or, they found out how low the memory was in it. Remember, there was a big controversy and everybody's like, hey, if you get a Switch, you're going to have to get a memory card because you're going to have to, download these games and yada, yada, yada. And then the other aspect is a lot of these games on digital, some of them are cheaper now. They're starting to conform a little bit, because I believe it was the Rhyme developer came out, remember? Yeah. And there was a big thing like it's $10 more. Why is everything $10 more on the Switch? That whole bit. So that's pretty much all I had to say on that. I just feel that needs to be thrown in the equation. But I'm going to let Lord King and Lord Addict come.
I'm gonna let Lord Addict go first. I'll come right behind that, baby. Go on, get that.
All right, first off, let's be real here. The sales are related to it. There's not anything on this console to play. I've had this, if it wasn't for the huge success of Zelda, I think the install base would be way lower than it is. Yep. Mario Kart has definitely helped, but from someone who played it on the Wii U, you could ask Lord Cognito. I almost didn't pick it up at launch, but it's just like, look, what am I going to play on it? So, I ended up picking that up. Okay, then you look at people like Anchorman playing Snake Pass. That game wouldn't do shit on the Switch if it wasn't for nothing playing. Yep. When's the last time you heard someone say, you know what I want to play? Snake Pass. Let me guess, none. They do have a lot of cool, genres on the Switch, but I do feel like it being portable is one of the reasons that some of these games are selling. I'm sorry, Lord Cognito. How many times have you heard someone say they bought a game digitally on Switch? Very few.
I've heard a lot.
A lot. I have.
Very few.
I've heard a lot.
You're the minority.
That's the only.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because when the Switch came out, people were told that they had to have a memory card. That was what they were told, because the people were laughing at the Switch at how low the memory was.
the only people I know that's bought a game digitally is the people in Channel 5. Everyone else I know has bought the card.
Now we're talking semantics, and again, this is like anecdotal stuff, so we can't really say until we get hard and fast.
You don't know the whole community.
None of us really know. Yeah.
And we won't know because they're not allowing. MPD is not tracking Sony. They're not tracking Microsoft. They're not at this point. They're not allowing their digital sales numbers to be included. None of the big three.
All right, but I don't want to get into a whole debate on that. But when it comes down to it, like, look, like, I feel like features is just as important as games. You have to innovate your system to be modern and to have, you know, the Netflix, the Hulu. There's no reason why Switch doesn't have Netflix. Like, that makes no sense.
But there's a reason, and that goes into the topic. The topic is, I believe that Nintendo is purposely manipulating the user interface to the point that the only thing that you can do is play games. Now, is it strategic? I believe so.
And that's why they're being the laughing stock on the internet.
I don't think they're a laughing stock. They're laughing all the way to the bank.
To the bank.
Like, you gotta look at it. Like, you got a system. In this day and age, that can't play anything else but games. Even the 3DS can play YouTube. So
Netflix too.
Exactly. Yeah. You've made this system that is isolated within its own ecosystem, and we're gonna give you this one game that's gonna, you know, they're smart with the Zelda. They put out that one game that's gonna take up hundreds of hours of your time.
Right.
Okay. Then they put a couple of games inside the digital store. And they said, you know, you're going to play this. It's a reason why that game sold a one-on-one in some cases.
Over one. Yeah.
Over one.
Sold more than the Switch itself.
I'm sorry. I have to give the success of the Switch to Zelda. No other game. That's the only game.
We're not discounting that. Yeah,
we're not discounting that.
I feel like that, you know, let's be real here. You know, services like Netflix and Hulu and stuff, the only reason they were successful was because of gaming systems and places like, you know, I remember when Netflix was first on Xbox 360. They brought it to the 360 first. And you know, there's games like Minecraft that came to consoles that I feel like you need.
Boom happened.
Well, I get that, but I feel like you need features more, just as much as you need games.
Absolutely, but let me ask you this one question, because the chat actually, Kratos in the chat made a good point though. You know, he's saying like, why do you need Netflix if you're going to play games? And the other question I want to ask you specifically, Lord Attic, is remember when Xbox One dropped and the Dawn came out, Dawn Matrix. And he started talking NFL and TV. I saw one of them old Lord Rev videos for the Xbox One reveal.
Hey.
And he was not happy when there was a whole bunch of TV movies.
I chose my words right. I said it's just as it's on equal grounds as games. I didn't say games were less.
It wasn't
important.
On equal grounds.
That's what I'm saying. But Dawn Matrix made it seem like TV was way more important on a gaming platform. I'm saying that you need features to back up your games just as much as you need games to back up your features. Okay, I use Netflix.
It's equal to topic.
Okay, well, what about YouTube? What about Netflix? Like, you need these features.
Content of the topic. Right? If you break the topic down to its basis form, Nintendo is taking a stance and they're forcing a way of life on you, and it's being successful, right?
It's being successful because of one game. That's all. It's not like they have a bunch
but that
of
game
games.
is in the wild now, but other games are selling at a monumental rate.
Even Bomberman. So
this is what I'm trying to say, and like, you know, Lord Cognito, and he keeps bringing up the user base numbers on the PlayStation and Microsoft, and their games are not selling at the same rate as the Switch. And what I explained to him is, I believe that is directly related to the TV functionalities that are built into these new systems that is taken away. Like, a game would come out and they say, yeah, I get that later. I'm watching this season Daredevil just dropped. I don't care what the hell is coming out on Friday. I got these 13 episodes. I just popped this popcorn. It's Netflix and chill time. You understand?
Yeah.
Then you get to the SolidRev situation, and hold on, this is leg day. Oh, he did some new stuff on YouTube. Let me see how he did that. Okay, all right. So okay, I got to incorporate that in the nutrition. Oh, and you get down the rabbit hole. We just talked about that in YouTube. And I'm doing this on my system. If they clock my time on playing video games and clocked it on YouTube and Netflix and Hulu, they're winning. Netflix, YouTube, and Hulu is winning on my system opposed to video games.
I feel you. To Lord Addict's point, I'm gonna let you jump in, Saul. To Lord Addict, Blaze made a point. It said that if the Switch got voice chat, YouTube, and a couple more third-party games that he's in. So to Lord Addict's point, he's saying that if those features were there, that it's important to him that he would actually pick one up.
6 million people feel otherwise.
In the gaming install base, is that really a lot though?
6 million people, and the year is not even out. Hell yeah!
It's not. The year's not out. Yeah, the year's not out. He's right. Yeah, Lord King's right. I mean, in this short amount of time, what they've been able to do is short and remarkable. So I want you to.
Yeah, just quickly. I just wanted to add, like, we're at the point where Sony and Microsoft don't really care what you're doing on their system, so long as their system is on.
Yep.
Like that's just the truth about it. They don't care if you're gaming. They don't care. They want it on.
Yeah, and
Nintendo doesn't have that luxury yet. Right.
Yeah, they even have metrics, because if you remember when the Xbox One dropped, you would get achievements for watching YouTube. You would get achievements for watching Netflix and how many hours. They're tracking this stuff. So I definitely hear what you're saying. But finish up, so if you have the other point.
Yeah, that was it. So Nintendo, absolutely. I mean, again, if it meant like being able, Netflix and Hulu on my Nintendo, being able to just lay in bed and watch it and watch that stuff if I don't have a TV in my room or a system in my room or whatnot, yeah, it matters. It absolutely matters. But I think what Lord King said is correct. I mean, you direct people to focus on what you're strongest at, and they have no other leeway but to do it. You have to do it. So again, yeah, man. Once they add that stuff, if they somehow are able to fix this whole chat stuff and whatnot, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem.
But I think Lord's got some good one on this before we move on. And definitely I hear what Lord Attic is saying too. I don't want to negate what he's saying, because he actually is making valid points too. But we are gonna move on to the next topic, and I'm gonna let Lord Solve lead this. Since we have been on the Nintendo Switch topic, the NPD has come out. And surprisingly, Nintendo did not win this month. So I want to get into that and shortages and what's going on over there, Saul. What's going on in these streets?
So basically, Nintendo, the month that they launched in March, they cleaned house. And in April, they did the same in terms of console sales. They won NPD hands down. Now we get to May, and they lose. And PlayStation once again wins NPD.
That's because that Zelda effect's wearing off now.
Well,
let the Lord finish.
The Zelda effect it's only going to affect the people that have it already. Like the Zelda effect, if you don't have it, it's not going to affect you.
No, what I was referring to is people that wanted to play Zelda picked it up, and the rest are sitting there like, why should I pick up a console that got no features?
Continue, Lord.
I think the rest are saying, I can't pick up a console. There's no console to pick up. And I think that's what the argument is. Honestly, I think they lost NPD because the units weren't out there. Past couple of weeks, Lord Cognito and I have been talking about how if the consoles are in the wild, they're going to sell and they're going to run through everybody in terms of sales, because it's just, it's the hot thing right now.
Don't think so.
Let
I know, that's what I'm just saying.
There's a lot of interruptions, a lot of chirping by two lords on Switch.
No apologize.
Continue, Lissa.
Now, they came out and said that they apologized for the shortages, especially in the Japanese market. But it's gotten to the point where, like, they're trying to bring in consoles that have already been shipped out to the States back to Japan in order to fill need. That's how crazy it's gotten in terms of shortages. So my thing is, what is the issue here? Are they having issues with manufacturing to a certain extent? And obviously they're not going to tell you that.
I want to yeah, I mean,
or are they to a certain extent also creating sort of an artificial shortage in order to be ready for all these bundles that they have coming? They have a big Splatoon push coming with Splatoon bundle. They obviously going to want to sell you that headset, right? There were a few more consoles in the wild when ARMS dropped, although it had no specific kind of ARMS, bundle or anything like that. But the consoles were a little more prevalent in the wild that week that it dropped. And obviously, they have more big titles coming down the line for the rest of the year. They have Mario Rabbids, they have Xenoblade Chronicles, and obviously Mario Odyssey.
Right.
that they're gonna want to sell bundles.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have trouble believing them that it's just, oh, we weren't ready for the amount of popularity that the system was gonna have. I have a lot of trouble believing that because honestly, you know, after that first couple of weeks that the system was in the wild, you knew that you needed to have more stock of that system.
Yeah, that's I do want to say, how long are we going to be before we can't take that? You know,
Right.
It's still supply issues. We're like 4 months in. How are you still going to say you didn't know?
I want to jump in if Saab's finished when you finish off.
So just quickly, I mean, I think the manufacturing thing could be an issue because a lot of the parts that go into the Switch are general parts that a lot of other manufacturers use and probably use at a greater capacity that they do. They need more of it. So I can kind of see that maybe it's difficult getting certain parts for the system, and maybe that slowed things down. But honestly, my true feeling is that they want to bundle these things up. They know that these things are coming. They don't want to be short Splatoon bundles. They want to push Splatoon. They don't want to be short Mario Odyssey or Zelda bundles towards the end of the year. And then another thing is that they want to make sure they have plenty of systems out when their big games are out. You know, it's a thing. You don't want a lot of systems out in the wild and have shelf space taken up with these systems on weeks when you have indie games coming out, other third-party stuff that isn't as popular. They, you know, because the system isn't going to move then. The system's going to move when you have your games out. So I have trouble believing them in that regard.
I feel. I'm going to jump in real quick because this is actually a topic that I've actually researched, and my opinion on it is
so you say you don't research any of the topics, but this topic?
Yeah, no, I'm freestyle. Lord, that put me on the spot. But real talk. Like I did do some research on it, and the deal, what I'm calling this, is controlled hustle. They know, like Lord Sovereign, don't make no mistake. They know they don't want those things sitting on the shelf, and they want these things to push with a release. Because if you remember when Mario Kart dropped, all of a sudden, those Switches were available right around release time. You know, you got that text from GameStop, or you got that whatever. The thing now, in their defense, though, the real is there is a chip shortage. There's a chip called the RAM chip, and it's a memory chip. And what's happening is Apple is taking from that stock because of the upcoming iPhone 8. So there is a reality that chip is just not available in abundance. But like you said, Lord Sovereign, they have to know this. They have to have been preparing that, okay, one of your competitors or another market leader is also coming from that pool, and you have to allocate accordingly and you have to plan accordingly. Now, they've been doing the whole air shipping stuff to Japan and, you know, and all this other stuff to try to compensate, and I get it. But at the same time, I do believe that, yes, there's a shortage, but they're also restocking very curiously at the time of their big launching. Splatoon, ARMS, you know, Mario, all that stuff. But that's what I found out. But I'll let other lords get in on this.
I got nothing to really say about this. I think Nintendo, I think they're still lost in the times a little bit. I think they do got games I like to play, but let's be real here. Like, people say, well, you know,
what do you mean, you people? No, I'm just joking.
Well, you know, people want to say that, you know, why are you picking up a console that you only play one game for? Like, look, I'll pick up a PS4 just for Kingdom Hearts. I know SolidRev don't like that game. But, you know, I'll pick up a console for one game. I will, in a heartbeat. It's not even. And, you know, I picked up.
Why are you turning him into the testosterone gamer? Like, he only plays the hardest of hard games. Like, I'm
gotta
pretty
watch
sure.
Lil Rev's channel.
Listen, I'm pretty sure that under that hard, tough exterior, he got a Blues Clues game somewhere in his pocket.
I'm done.
You think he's secretly playing Blues Clues and no one's looking?
Is Rev still alive after that comment?
Right.
No point in addressing that.
Lord Rev, we gotta get your feedback on this. Where we at with this whole fake?
What the hell do you want me to say, man? I don't know. Sounds good. Maybe the less something's in, the more valuable it seems. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe that is what Nintendo's doing. I don't understand. And like we were talking about before, like the games, there's no games on the system. So when a game comes out, of course it's going to sell good. You know what I mean? Maybe these suckers here are doing everything on purpose. You know what I mean? On PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you can go get countless games, and like the other guy was talking about with all the apps, the movies, the Hulus, and all that. There's so much more to do. On the Switch, when a game comes out, that's all there is to do on the system. So maybe all this is controlled in their benefit.
Hank Lord Eggerman says Nintendo has been about this hustle since the Wii.
They've been about this hustle since before then. This has always been their hustle. And what I really don't like is they're selling you an inferior product. I'm talking about the software now. I'm getting into the software. If you're taking the software and you put it on multiple systems, they are always the inferior product, and they're selling it at a premium price, $10 to $5 more than the better product.
What's funny?
I don't know why we're standing for this.
What's funny is they chose the cartridge route, and they're like, you know what? We chose this option, but you're going to pay for them because we don't want to pay for them. We want you to put it on the price of the game, and you pay for it.
Our bad judgment.
Yeah, that's kind of true. That's kind of true.
Oh, no, but you were always going to subsidize their bad judgment. And the thing is, though, if going the route that they went with the Switch being portable, they had no option but a cartridge, unless it was going to be all digital.
That's not true.
You can't have a CD based. You can't have a Blu-ray based portable.
That is not true. Like we know the original PlayStation portable was the UMDs.
It was a disc. It was a disc encased in another plastic so that it wouldn't get hit around. Like it wasn't. UMDs were not the best solution to.
But that was also proprietary, and also Sony tried to get their hustle was with those memory cards too. Remember they had their own.
Yeah, their thing was the memory cards, but their games was priced appropriately.
Right.
Hey, let's be real here. The biggest hustle of all is PC graphic cards manufacturer.
Let's not even jump over there. Let's just stay exactly where we are. We're not going to get derailed off of this because it is Nintendo needs to be called out on the carpet.
Now this I will say about the cartridges. Cartridges do not cost what they used to cost either. It's still considerably cheeper than what it used to be. Yes. Yeah. So the price gouging still is in effect. I mean, it definitely is.
Shout out to Lord Kaibatsu. We had a spirited fury in Twitter, tweeting each other like wild woodpeckers, going back and forth. And he explained to me that he was picking up a game called Battle Chasers, which I explained to you guys before, which is a fantastic game on other platforms, other than the Switch. Now he yells out the portability of said game, and I said that's great. You're missing my point. My point is you're going to pay $64.95 for said game. I'm going to pay, I don't know, probably $10 to $20 cheaper for the game, and it's going to be running in either 4K checkerboard 60 frames per second, 1080p 60 frames per second, but it's going to be running at a higher resolution on opposite or opposing system, cheaper. And Nintendo is forcing you to buy this game at 30 frames per second and charging you $10 to $20 more. And I think that business practice needs to be called out. It needs to stop. Some type of petition or something that we can get SolidRev to sign. Needs to go up. I mean, it needs to be.
We'll put Rev behind it. We'll put Rev as the face of that petition.
Well, if, like he said, if his signature is there, he didn't do it. But I'm saying that why, as gamers, would we allow ourselves to be beaten and dragged through the streets by Nintendo just because they don't have any games?
Yeah, I mean the price thing. Just the price thing. The price thing is foul. Period. I mean, for me though, the argument I make is the same one that Lord Kaibatsu makes, is that if that game sitting on my Xbox One X probably doesn't get the play that it gets on the Switch, I would get it and it would sit there, and I played more, AAA games on that system, as opposed, if I know I'm picking it up on the Switch, I'm going to play it through. And then at some point later, I'll probably
yes.
purchase it again on the Xbox One X or whatever. And have
not to cut you. I mean, honestly, that's the same reason why I do it. The reason for me is like there's games, like let's keep it real, like Rocket League just got announced for them, right? I really didn't play it. I mean, it was a great game. I played it a little bit, but I know that game is suited for me on the go when I'm at work or I'm bored or I'm on a train. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's certain games that to me just scream Switch and portable and on the go, as opposed to me sitting. I'm not buying. I shout out to Lord Anchorman in the chat. He's going ham right now. I am not buying Snake Pass, Lord Anchorman, and sitting in my house. Like that's not happening. Like that, I just not. I'm on my rev mode. I can't vision that. But as far as if there was a shot of me even playing that game, it would have to be downloaded secretly on the go. That's it. It's just certain things.
So you're gonna pay the $20 more to play it on the go?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's something that I want, I'm paying it. It's my money. I'm voting with my dollar. So my thing is, if you don't like it, vote with your wallet and don't support it. That's my thing. But we can't get mad that they're hustling people and people are still falling for the hustle. They still running out there spending extra money on this stuff.
I agree 100%. Why change your business practices when they're working?
Don't. If you can continue to gouge the public because their ignorance on said matter, keep gouging them.
And like we said, we all agree, like even Lord Rev said, like there's some bit of hustling with this fake demand. I remember back in the day with Tickle Me Elmo and all that stuff. And you know what I mean, at Christmas time, kids
when I spent $200 on a Tickle Me Elmo for myself.
Exactly. But it's like, you know, when you create fake hype or you make it this must-have item, they've got it down to a science. Grandpa Nintendo has got it down to a science. And until people vote with their wallet, it's gonna be the same old song and dance. But that's what I got. Real quick, I know we ran too fast, but I just wanted to. I know Lost Strategy was in the chat and he asked a question, but I wanted to bring this up real quick, everybody. For the Xbox One Scorpio, based on what we know about right now, based on everything that's been announced, are all of us in this party at the round table buying one day one? Let's start with Red.
Buying two of them.
I'd like to say I'm not going to buy it, but you already know I'm going to.
I know you're going in. My man, Rev, no doubt. Lord Addict, I'm curious. Are you buying it day one?
Day one of 2018.
Oh, not 2017 November. What is it? November 6th?
Nah, I can't. Look. Here's the thing. Like, I got a PC. I got an Xbox platform. I can't justify going out and spending an extra $500. Even if I trade in my Xbox, I'm still at least paying $250 to $300. I can't justify doing that when I don't even have a PlayStation platform.
So there's nothing that could sway you, like even like a what is it, Shadow of War or nothing.
Nah, I'm still gonna play the same game. It's just gonna be slightly better.
Okay, so for your thing is that the resolution thing, that 4K means absolutely nothing to you.
Not a damn thing.
Got you. Okay, I see where you're at.
I'd rather play the exclusives for PlayStation, like the 15 I have never touched, than pay $500 to play Shadow of War at 4K.
Okay. I think I'm in agreement with Lord King and Lord Rev. I mean, yeah, it's a day one buy for me, just for the simple fact I'm the type that if there's better technology out, I gotta see what's going on. You know what I mean? Yeah, I gotta see. I gotta, it's like we're gonna put the TV side by side. We're gonna see who's dropping the frame.
I agree,
especially when it comes to the console.
Corporate slaves.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, shout out to Kratos. We definitely corporate slaving on that one. But yeah, I mean, Lord Salvo, is it without any reservation?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Like, I can talk all I want, but I'm getting it.
No doubt. My mantra is he who ends with the most toys win. So I'm sorry if you're not getting it. I'm picking up two, and I'm gonna have the spare tools.
Well, then good. Your quota can count for mine.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm gonna tell you, I'm picking up two in the spirit of you. Like, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna have a Lord Cognito hat on and a Lord Anchorman hat on. And when I purchase, I'm purchasing for the team. And when we enjoy it, when I'm enjoying it for you. So don't worry about it.
That's my man, Lord King, the excess gamer. Premium
I got
experience.
2 TVs in my house. There's no way I can justify going upstairs and changing my experience by going upstairs to a regular Xbox One. That shit ain't happening. Sorry.
Now, Rev, before we close up, Rev, are you in the process of you going to do the 4K thing? You going to make the 4K jump TV as well, or no?
No desire to go 4K. Not for a while.
So we're going to 1080p super sample that bad boy for a little bit. All right. Fair enough. But we're going to wrap this thing up, and definitely want to shout out to SolidRev for coming through, man. Much appreciated talking gaming at the round table with us. So where can the fine people find you, Rev? What's going on with you in these YouTube streets?
SolidRev. I appreciate you guys having me. You're a good host, Cognito. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with your hosting skills, man. I like that. Real smooth.
Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate you, man. I've been wanting you on the show for a while, and I've always watched your content. I'm gonna tell you right now, Lord King, you've got to watch some of his videos with wifey and the kids, and his man Chuck. Hilarious, bro. Like, you have to watch this man's man. You want a good laugh?
You know what Lord King will get a kick out of? That video where SolidRev put his friend eating a well, what was it, SolidRev? It was like a big ass burger at McDonald's.
Shout out to Lord
16 patties. Yeah.
That's my
You said 16 patties?
Yes. His man's is
Yo, I think I've seen your channel.
Yeah.
Yo,
gotta watch it.
You know what? I've probably seen it. I'm gonna double check it today.
SolidRev is the only dude on YouTube that when people was like, I don't watch videos that don't have quality videos. He's like, hold my beer.
No doubt, it's a pleasure to get the man in here. We're gonna wrap this thing up. So, of course, Lord Addict, what's been going on with you in these streets? Where can the people find you?
You can catch me at Gaming Addict YouTube. You can catch me on Twitter at Gaming Addict ILP. Definitely tune in to the Planet Xbox podcast Tuesday. Well, we're giving away a $50 Xbox code. Pretty much, Kits Moves, bribing people to watch his podcast, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, watch his podcast when I bust that butt.
But I do want to thank Lord Sovereign for coming on. Not Lord Sovereign, Lord Rev for coming on. I know we talked about Nintendo, and he seemed to be falling asleep there, but I appreciate you pushing
just
through
the disgust in his voice when we talk Nintendo.
That's why I had to keep throwing him in the mix, man. I had to keep pushing him inside the circle. Get the circle.
No doubt.
Hey, but shout out to Rev because he played Zelda.
Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah,
I played 4 hours of it. 4 hours.
Oh,
wow, I'm impressed. Lord Sovereign, where can the fine people find you?
The fine people can find me on Xbox Live at BX Sovereign, PSN BX Sovereign, one word, and on Twitter Lord Sob ILP. And thanks to Ref for coming on, definitely, man.
Well, no problem.
No doubt. And of course, the XS Premium 2 Scorpio gamer, Lord King. Where can the fine people find you?
I like that. 2 Scorpio gamer. I think we're gonna.
You like that one? You like that one?
Scorpio gamer. That's what's up. Like that.
2 cold Scorpio.
Exactly.
That's what's up. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. But see, play it. PSN. Now, what I need is my team to galvanize and invite me on this PSN because I have 3 friends on my list, and that's about it. Is Xbox 360 lover.
Not fanboy at all. Not fanboy.
100% wait for that flag, baby, on your stage.
If there's any time you can say corporate slave confirmed, it's that with tag gamer tag.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, I'm an apologist for that system, and
don't lie. The only reason your tag is that is because you can't change it.
Wow, that is kind of true.
I never tried, and I wouldn't if I could, baby.
Good. All right, and this course is me, Lord Cognito. We giving you that gaming realness, man. Appreciate y'all coming through, everybody. Lord Rev, everybody. And like I said, we still the best podcast you never heard. So we're out here on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, all the major channels. We appreciate the support. We got more stuff coming. And on that note, we out here. Peace.